What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Realignment Dynasty here on NCAA 14, featuring that college football revamp. And we are out here, man, just kind of put a nice little bow tie around season number 2 of this Realignment Dynasty, man. We got some off-season recap action for you, and then, of course, we got some highlights from the national championship game as well for you guys to check out. So I hope you're excited for this episode, man. If you are, make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel as well. So we'll go ahead and jump right into a national championship game action, and USC's first drive, man, they are taking it right to the Oklahoma Sooners as those first, original plays, those scripted plays, they've practiced them really well, and they are executing pretty darn well, as Bajern Ironside just lays the lumber on Anthony Rowe. Oh, he wasn't ready. No. So, that being said, USC still able to drive down despite that, and a chance here to at least pick up a field goal, but we'll just have to wait and see how things shake out, as Ironside able to get to the quarterback there, lays the lumber there as well. It is now 3rd and goal, as Ironside in a position to try to make an interception. Would have been an incredible play. Can't quite haul it in, but prevents the touchdown. And more importantly, what he did also do, his team, they actually didn't make the field goal either. So USC, they drove all the way downfield to start this game, and they don't come away with anything there. And now the offense will take over, and the first drive for Emmy Husky Jr. You love to see it. Custom connecting with another custom as well. Touchdown Sooners. And they will quickly grow this thing to a 10-0 lead here in the first quarter. And now 2-possession game here as USC, they try to set up the screen, but Ironside gonna break up that as well. Looking for that middle wide receiver screen, but that was not going to happen. But Thompson will find Emmy Husky Jr. once again. He does manage to go ahead and pick up a few yards there. Nothing too crazy though. Gotta move those sticks. You know how it is. As Thompson looking to his right. He's gonna throw it downfield last second and finds Andrew Hargrove. Now you want to talk about throwing that thing on a rope. He threw that thing on a rope, man. Like, that was an insanely tight area to try to squeeze that into. And it leads to another touchdown for Oklahoma. Trojans of USC, they tried to go ahead. They tried to send the blitz, and it doesn't work as Sawyer still has the time in the pocket to calmly deliver it to his receiver. It's now 17-0 game here. The defending national champions here, certainly in some trouble, but gonna get a little bit of help from the officiating staff, as there is going to be a face mask penalty on Bajern Ironside. Trojans can't do anything with it, and now just trying to make sure that this lead does not grow here within the last minute of this first half. But what a bomb out there to Maxwell, and it's a huge play downfield. And now trying to punch it into the end zone one more time. Thompson scrambling to his right. He's gonna get it into the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Oklahoma Sooners. And you think this team wants a national championship? We saw Maurice Royal win the Natty not too long ago in the Coach Dynasty series. And now Sawyer Thompson, his final career game. Looks like no one, it might be just fate that, he also goes away with a national championship, but we threw an interception right there. And it wasn't even a bad decision, trying to throw it across his body. He was open, just didn't put enough air under it, unfortunately. And, that's could not only cost yards, but USC is, might just be able to go ahead and get some points on the board for the very first time, depending on what the defense ends up doing on this particular drive. They do end up settling for a field goal, but the goose egg is officially off the board, so at least, got that going for you, as Thompson gonna just flip this thing downfield. And it's just one of those games, man, where, anything that could go right, it's going right for you. And Oklahoma, they beat USC in the national championship 44-10, and Sawyer Thompson comes out on top. Last college game, leaving with the natty. But for us in our second year with the team, man, even though we didn't make it into the college football playoff, we still had a pretty good year overall. I mean, we ended up with double-digit wins, got a bowl game victory, but didn't think it was going to end up this way at first. First couple of games, a little bit shaky, 2 home games, we go 0-2, and then we just start rattling off the wins, wins against Ball State, Pittsburgh. We got it done against Pittsburgh. They won their bowl game, by the way. Beat Wake Forest, who actually does get themselves into the top 25. Beat Western Kentucky at home. That was our final home game of the year. And then we started a huge tour in terms of away games, for like the last half of the season. Went up against Temple, Georgia Southern, Memphis. Took care of all of them. San Diego State actually creeps into the top 25 towards the end of the year. We take care of them as well. And then we beat Southern Florida and UTSA to wrap up the regular season. Thought we would have a chance at that point to make the playoff, maybe sneak up in there. Just didn't happen at the end of the day. But get that bowl victory against Toledo, and that does mean we finished the year 11-2. So I'm feeling really good about that. Got a good bowl victory because of it, and that does also mean that we do end up with we almost had double-digit victories last year. We finished 9-4. We got to 11-2. So we're definitely going to be seeking maybe another coaching opportunity. We got B- prestige, so maybe we can go ahead and not necessarily go for a head coaching job. I really want to earn that opportunity, but I definitely want to look for, definitely a blue blood kind of, opportunity, maybe as a coordinator. So we look at the Heisman Trophy race. We do end up seeing Jeremy Smith, the running back from TCU, ends up winning it. We saw Anthony Rowe play in the national championship game. He did end up finishing in second place. He was the runner-up, but he couldn't lead his team to a national championship. Sawyer Thompson, though, now he was somebody that did, in fact, lead his team to a national championship. He wins a separate award, but he does also finish fourth in that national championship or Heisman Trophy race. As for the award winners, Anthony Moore ends up winning the Maxwell from San Diego State, with Sawyer Thompson finishing second, the senior from Oklahoma. He gets into the finalist list. Our guy Pat Henry was in there as well. He was fourth. And then John Gordon got in there. He finishes seventh overall with 50 total touchdowns on the year. Two of the three guys I just mentioned gonna go ahead and graduate for sure. As for the Walter Camp, it's the same thing. Anthony Moore does win that award as well. For the Bednarik, though, that is actually going to go to Mark Upshaw, and he was a menace to society. 98 total tackles on the year, 28 TFLs, 9 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Naheem McDaniels, a senior redshirt from Lynette, Alabama. He is also on this list. Speaking of Mark Upshaw, he also wins the Gursky Award as well. O'Brien Award goes to the best quarterback, and they give it to Sawyer Thompson there. So a little bit of a split opinion between Anthony Moore as well as Sawyer Thompson. For the Walker, that is also going to go to Jeremy Smith. So bringing in multiple things of hardware with Jamal Garrison, the junior wide receiver from Virginia. He ends up winning the Blitnikoff Award that goes to the best wide receiver. Travis Sanders was in the running as well. He ends up finishing in second place. And probably the touchdowns being a difference. I mean, 21 touchdowns versus Travis Sanders 13. That was going to be hard to complete with. But we do see Evan Daniels also on this list as well. He finishes in the top 10 for this award. As for the Mackey, that goes to the best tight end in college football. That goes to Kyle Robertson. Kyle Robertson with a 1,000-yard season for a tight end. That's really good. Definitely plays better than a 79 overall. That's definitely a thing that I've noticed. Probably just because he's not a great blocker, but he is a phenomenal athletic tight end. As for the out end, that's going to go to John Johnson, the center for Texas A&M, represented for Athens, Texas. Also winning the Wilmington, which does go to, I believe, the best center and best offensive line. For Lombardi, that's going to go to Pete Jones. 30 TFLs for Pete Jones this year. Defense really played pretty well. Mark Upshaw, again, winning another award. He gets the Buckus. And for the Fort Pay Award, that's going to go to Philip Fellows. 75 tackles, 4 TFLs, sack, forced fumble, interception. A little bit surprised by that, but we're not going to complain. As for the Garoza, Michael Burns is going to win it from Wisconsin, but Matt Davis is in here as well. He's finishing third among the group. As for the Kyle Guy Award, that goes to James Franklin, the senior punter out of Arkansas, but Vince Hall is in there as well, true freshman. He finishes second place. Carlton Adams is also in here as well, representing the top 5. Multiple freshmen on this list, so you love to see it. The Jet Award, that goes to the best return man of the year, that goes to Lee Jackson from Alpoca, Florida. So Justin Jones, who is part of the special teams unit at UCF, he's really happy about that, and how he's making an impact on that special teams. So once again, we do end up seeing one of our quarterbacks leading the way in terms of passing yards. Pat Henry ends up with 5,400 yards. That did end up breaking a school record that was set by the previous starting quarterback that we had starting in year number 1. But 2 custom guys also in the top 5 as well. John Gordon, he does end up hitting that 4,000-yard milestone. He threw for 4,003 yards, whereas Sawyer Thompson, he threw for 3,900 yards, finishing in the top 5 for sure. So you love to see that. Also is a national champion. Looking around to see other rushing leaders, or NCAA categorical leaders. We talked about the running back from TCU. He led the NCAA in rushing yards with nearly 1,800 yards on the ground. So a great season for him. Jamal Garrison, Boynikov winner, 1,500 yards of receiving, including 21 touchdowns to go with it as well. So a phenomenal year for him. Troy guys, we dominating the tackle leaders. It's all guys from the Troy Trojans. Only 2 people with more than 10 sacks this year. Adam Steffens from Colorado and Jim Hale of Indiana. They both tied for first place with 10.5 sacks on the year. For the interceptions leader, got at least a 5-way tie for first place. Multiple guys with 6 interceptions on the season. The guy that we had that was closest to that was Leonard, who ends up with 3 INTs on the year. And then finally, to wrap up the NCAA statistical leaders, we do have the NCAA kicking leaders. And the longest field goal kicked this season was 56 yards. And that's a 3-way tie between the kickers from Air Force, Akron, and USC. So with that being said, we'll see if we'll go ahead and now jump into what kind of coaching opportunities are waiting for us. I'll see you guys there when something interesting might come up, if we go and find what we're looking for, but you never know. So I mentioned that one of the things that I did want to do this year is maybe go to a established blue blood program, maybe as a coordinator. But look what opens up. The University of Oklahoma might be calling us home, and they do. So we are going to go ahead and take this, because as you already know, for those that watch the Coach Dynasty series that preceded this series and is part of the same universe, we're going to come out here, man. We are going to accept this deal, of course. National champions, we're taking this opportunity. Absolutely going to take this opportunity, no problem. It's a 4-year deal, and we will accept that opportunity. So we are now the offensive coordinator at the University of Oklahoma. Now, unfortunately for Coach Gunner, he was the head coach of Arkansas, but he actually does end up getting fired, unfortunately, but he's still going to land a pretty solid deal. We got Coach Gunner going over to TCU. He's going to be the new defensive coordinator over there. Really good program. They did make it to the college football playoff last year. They made it to the semifinals before being eliminated by not necessarily the national champs, but the national runner-ups in USC. So, a good place to land at for sure. He's going to be moving in to that really difficult new Midwest or Mountain West Conference. So, it's a good opportunity. Now, checking out the list for the University of Oklahoma in terms of guys that are leaving the program and ending up with 5 guys going to the pros. Rob Maxwell and Alex Browning are going to end up being 3rd-round picks. Mark Hall and Bjorn Ironside actually elevates himself to that 4th-round pick position. He was pretty good in the college football playoffs, especially in that semifinals of championship game. And then Rodney Dunlap, the senior All-American, he ends up becoming a 6th-round pick. Definitely some notable guys here, though, that did not make it to the NFL or choosing not to pursue it. Most notably, Sawyer Thompson, who's a 99 overall, and Emmy Husky Jr. also not going to the league. So that was really surprising to see both of them not make it. Adrian Nelson also had some consideration, but he probably will end up signing as an undrafted free agent when that time comes. Now, with that being said, there is some of your custom guys, either from the previous Coach Dynasty, because that's part of the same universe, and this Realignment Dynasty, that are going to be making some movement. Chris Gentry, he is only a true junior right now from Union City, Tennessee, but he is going to declare for the NFL draft. Now, he is a 7th-round pick, so it might have made more sense for him to stay one more year if that was his current stock, but he's a talented football player. He had 9 interceptions the first 2 years as the starter for this team, and he had a little bit of a down year this year, only 1 interception, but still a very talented player. And I think if he does end up going in the 7th round, he ends up being an absolute steal. Keeping it in the secondary, though, we got Jesus Rodriguez, the Texas transfer. He ends up also going to the NFL, and with a much higher stock, should be a early to mid day 2 pick with that 2nd-round projection. Is someone that is not very good at catching the football. This is somebody that only had 1 interception, but he is a pretty solid box safety. He's got some good tools at 6'3", 229. He will definitely be good in those one-on-one situations. Now, for that certain team up north, the Wolverines did end up sending a ton of players to the NFL this season. Lots of talent leaving the program, many of which are going to be day 1, day 2 players in this upcoming draft. But one of the players that is going to be leaving is the senior redshirt Terence Rafale, who did finally get the opportunity to get a starting job, man. 1,298 yards, 15 touchdowns. He was electric. Also contributed with a receiving touchdown as well. He is going to be projected as a 4th-round pick. And then, of course, the last player that I wanted to take some time to talk about is John Gordon, one of the best passers in the country, was someone who transferred from the University of Southern Florida. Man, they really missed out on this kid. They should have never have left him leave. He left because he didn't want to sit behind Max Steele, and it was a good call, man. One of the best seasons in Virginia football history, 4,300 yards passing, 47 touchdowns, 11 interceptions to go with it. He was someone that can certainly do it all for your program. A very accurate arm, a solid deep ball as well, and he's going to be a 1st-round pick because of it. Wouldn't be shocked if he ended up being like a top 5 player or something like that. So we're here at the University of Oklahoma, obviously, and we, didn't have much of a hand in recruiting, of course, because one, we are just an offensive coordinator, and I want to be more realistic. The head coach is going to have more of a hand in that than the coordinators are, and we also just got there as well. Like, that's the other thing. But we still put together a top 5 recruiting class. Team at it. You want to talk about a team that just won national championship and then have a ton of talent coming in. 4 5-stars, 6 4-star players, and plenty of 3-star guys as well. Should be a really good class, and I can't wait to see what they're going to be capable of, when we get into this upcoming season. Also putting together a top 25 class is Justin Jones and his group over in the University of Central Florida. That Deep South Conference ain't a little different. Also bringing in some good guys. They just coming off of a college football playoff appearance. They did get eliminated in the quarterfinal to Oklahoma, but I mean, they did win the national championship, so no shame about that there whatsoever. So yeah, that's really good to see from that standpoint. You really love to see it. Also a really good class. Now, Coach Gentry, kind of is in a situation where, it's not a very prestigious program by any means, but for a 1-star program, they actually did a pretty good job recruiting this year. They end up putting together the 61st ranked recruiting class, which, is a solid group. That includes a 4-star athlete, which I do believe transferred pretty well to being a quarterback. So you love to see that. Really solid group of guys coming together. I can't wait to see what they are going to be capable of this upcoming year. But Coach Gentry is going to hopefully this is the class that will help turn things around at Mid-Tennessee State, since 4-8 is not ideal. Now, one team that I was surprised to see down here though is TCU. We're talking about a team that not only made it to the college football playoff, but made it to the semifinals. So, a lot of exposure, in that regard. They even won their conference too, which is a really nice thing. Only 65th, so not ideal by any means. You're competing against Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Texas. A lot of recruiting prowess in the ranks for sure. But TCU, they're bringing in a few solid guys, a 5-star, 4-star, quite a few 3-stars, but an alarming number of 2 and 1 stars. So gonna have to see some development. We'll see if they can build off of their success from last year, and they can make another trip back to that college football playoff. Now, there was a couple of recruiting battles among the custom prospects, one of which was Andrew Kirby the 6th. He was, getting consideration from a few schools, Houston, Arkansas State, and Southern Miss. Matter of fact, Coach Gunner, prior to being fired, he was pushing for him really hard. But, with that head coaching firing, that might have been the difference maker. He is going to ultimately leave the state of Arkansas. He's going to be playing his college football at Houston. Will be a really big pickup for that program. 4-star guy, 6'7", should be a great possession receiver who can win those one-on-one matchups. Now, the other custom prospect that did not sign prior to signing day, but the latest decision late, was Caleb Heck, the number 6 running back in this recruiting class. Is hailing from Brunswick, Georgia. He does also officially make his decision. He is going to be playing his college football at Virginia Tech. Going to be a really good running back. Has solid speed. Can definitely try to go about running you over if he wishes to do so. A little bit rough around the edges for a 4-star guy, but that being said, should be a very quality player for the Hokies. So with us being at a brand new school, we now need to take the chance to take a look around and, see what this team is made of, like what the roster composition is. And after a little bit, we got the number 1 athlete in the country, Kevin Carpenter. He's really fast, 86 speed. I really like that, but he can also throw the football. So what I can do with him, since we also brought in plenty of wide receivers, I also thought about putting him at the wide receiver position. I'm going to put him at that quarterback position, because right now at quarterback, it is really light. We do have Antoine D'angelos, which I did get a chance to play with him some, and I really like playing with him. He was, an electric athlete when he stepped on the field replacing Sawyer Thompson, right? Like we saw that at least I saw that in the national championship game. But beyond that, you know, we got a new three-star quarterback, Eric Keys. He's not ready to play big-time college football yet. And then Lonnie Stone is actually a walk-on player, so want to have some more depth at the position. So I'm going to put Kevin Carpenter there. He'll sit behind Antoine D'angelos at least for like a couple of seasons. Now at left tackle, I do have a little bit. You know, we got plenty of guys over the left tackle position. I am going to move one of them, though. Daniel Thomas is slated to be a backup, and I think he'll be better served as a left guard, because even though like he loses an overall point at left guard, he would still be projected to start over Robert Myers, so that will help boost up our offensive line at least a little bit, but could, you know, use a little bit help in terms of, you know, building the depth of our offensive line moving into this year. So we get ourselves out to the training results, and let's just say we're going to have a lot of weapons to work with. You know, we got a lot of guys that are going to be, you know, in that 90 overall range. Should be a pretty good season for us moving into, you know, year number 3 of this series, man. Antoine D'angelos, I'm really excited for. He's a guy at the quarterback position. He is 92 speed. Yeah. 92 speed is what this guy has, and he has a good arm as well. 88 throw power, 91 throw accuracy. He is going to be really dangerous, you know, with that running game. So we're gonna have to, you know, get him to scramble quite a bit if we don't like set up any like actual read options or anything like that. Willie Lewis, he did come back for his senior year as well. He is also a 99 overall, but Julian Avery waiting in the wings, he's going to come in as a 90. Fullback Vincent Dukes, we're not going to really use him, but he's there just in case. Andrew Hargrove is going to be a 94, and Drew Ryan is a 90. Couple of solid sophomore redshirt wide receivers, so I'm excited to see the development of Lonnie Covington as well as Greg Coleman, who is a serious burner right away. He's going to be an absolute problem this upcoming season. Tight end, got a couple of really awesome tight ends as well. Got the senior Justin McDonald, for example, and then also junior tight end Scott Evans. So we got the past, or the present and the future at this position. So I'm really excited to see how that ends up turning out for the next 3 years, actually. You know, Darren Perkins is going to be a pretty good tight end when he gets his shot in a couple years as well. Now for the offensive line, you know, I'm feeling, you know, solid about the offensive line. Grant Smith's going to be really good. Daniel Thomas should be slotting in as a starter. He does beat out Robert Myers in spring ball. Darius Wallace will be okay. The Hawaii product. Definitely an older group. A lot of these guys, you know, senior guys, with the exception of Mike Horn. He is a junior. But 4 seniors on the offensive line that are going to be starting for us this upcoming season. So I do feel really fantastic about that. A lot of experience on that offensive line. But with that being said, we do have 7 of these players that we do need to go ahead and cut. And unfortunately, I can't cut this walk-on in Freddie Beck. I thought one fullback would be enough, but that was not the case. One person that I can get rid of, though, is this Lonnie Stone guy. Just not really sold on. He doesn't do anything well, like at all. He's just kind of, he was there when there was a need for a third string quarterback, but now that, you know, I got an actual quarterback as the third string guy, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of him first and foremost, and just really like cut from the bottom, with the exception of Eric Keys. I think Eric Keys will probably stick around because he is still slated as our third string guy, so we won't be able to cut him. But, you know, a lot of these like low 60s, maybe mid 60 players, they don't cut it for the standards of the University of Oklahoma, right? Like, this is a team that just won the national championship games, so yeah, we're gonna have to, you know, say goodbye to some of these players. Gonna lose State of Arkansas as a pipeline, but that's our head coach's problem, because he'll be handling the recruiting this upcoming season. But yeah, I'm excited about this roster. Gonna be looking pretty good if you ask me. As we draw closer to starting this brand new season, let's also go ahead and take a look at some of the guys that we plan on redshirting, at least on the offensive side of the ball, and we have 2 red shirts in this regard. Julian Avery, you know, he's gonna be a backup. He's not gonna see a lot of playing time this season, I imagine. There's good depth behind him as well. Marcus Hayden, he's capable, and then Aaron Williams is also capable as well. We got a 99 overall running back, Willie Lewis. He's definitely gonna be a vocal point in this offense. So Julian Avery, I'm gonna redshirt him this specific season so that, you know, we can get him that extra year eligibility, and he could also go ahead and make sure that, you know, he's a guy that, you know, maybe becomes a 99 overall by the time he is a redshirt junior. Now, as for the tight end position, I have 4 tight ends as of right now, and I think I'm going to go ahead and redshirt Darren Perkins. Now, he would be sitting number 3 on the depth chart as of right now. He saw limited playing time in his true freshman year, but, you know, I really want him to sit and develop. He's got some really great traits that I do love about him, but he could definitely use some refinement. 61 awareness, I would like that to be a little bit higher before he ends up seeing the field. But he's a very talented tight end. I'm really excited for what he brings to the table in the future. But Justin McDonald and Scott Evans, they got things under control as of right now. But this is what our schedule is going to be looking like this upcoming season. And, you know, nothing that I'm really scared about, actually. I mean, we'll get things warmed up. We'll take on FCS Northwest this upcoming season. Like to get things started off. Nice little warm-up game. Then we'll go on by. You know, we'll also take on Old Dominion before we start really getting into our conference action. Going on the road against Oklahoma State. They went bowling last year. Home games versus Baylor, South Alabama, that's a non-conference opponent, and then Texas as part of course, the Red River Showdown that we got to go ahead and do. So got you know, multiple rivalry games to start the year off, but we then have 2 road games. We go on the road against Kansas, actually a non-conference opponent for us as well because of the realignment. TCU, they are you know, actually really highly regarded, number 2 in the country. Texas A&M, they come in ranked number 4. So I mean, we got a couple of challenges here. Houston's in there as well, Rice, Tulsa to round out the year, but you know, definitely a schedule that we can easily navigate. Yeah, we play 2 top 5 opponents in a row, but we at least get a bye week in between, and of course, you know, an FCS opponent to get us nice and warmed up. So if you guys made it this far into the episode, this is the time of the day where I go ahead and kind of explain how custom prospects are going to work. Now, for those of you that are interested in having a custom guy in this series, whether that be, you know, being a high school senior or even a JUCO guy, if that's something that you're interested in, I will have a template down in the description. We'll keep track of your guys' like recruiting process, and then we'll also track him how his college career does, check him out in postseason games, all that kind of stuff. You know, big thing for the deep dive special. So if that's something that you're interested, I will have a template down in the comment section. It will be a pinned comment. But with that being said, next episode we will go ahead and kick off year number 3, and I hope you guys are real excited for it. If you are, make sure you go ahead, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. And with that, this is John J Gaming on the mic signing off, but I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.